What's up, everybody? I'm Chris McClung. I own Battleborn Wheels. I am a off-road wheel manufacturer based in Carson City, Nevada, and today I'm going to show you how to install our steel bead locks on your tires. So with our wheels, we do include a standard valve stem, but sometimes you will need a TPMS adapted valve stem, or otherwise you would just take your TPMS off your existing wheels and adapt it into our wheel. You'll need a valve stem puller. You can pick this up at any auto parts store. A good torque wrench, socket adapters, 3/8 drive wrench, anti-seize, impact gun. So what we have here, we have our steel beadlock. This is our gatekeeper wheel. It's a budget-friendly beadlock for your build to get you out on the trail. So first things first, you're gonna look at the label here and you're gonna verify it's the right size, it's the right bolt pattern, and it's the offset that you need for your vehicle. So we're gonna open this up. So here's your valve stem, decal, install guide. It is a steel design, steel ring in choices of 3.5 or 4.5 backspace. We offer these in most lug patterns from 5, 6, and 8 lug options. And here's what you're gonna have. So first things first, with any aftermarket wheel, you're gonna wanna dry fit this on the car and make sure it fits. You cannot return a wheel that's been mounted to a tire. That goes with any wheel company, all right? So once you verify that, then you can go into disassembly. So I just got here a 20-volt Milwaukee impact. We're gonna zip these screws out. Okay, we're gonna set that stuff aside along with our ring. Now, very important, valve stem. Put your valve stem in now. We're gonna take our valve stem, put a little bit of lube on it. You're gonna insert the valve stem in your wheel using your valve stem puller. You're just gonna pull gently on it, wiggling back and forth, and it'll seat. If you have TPMS, you do the same thing with your TPMS. All right, now you're ready to put the tire on. So I just have a blanket laid out here to prevent scratching the wheel. Work with what you got. You don't need much to do this at home. So what I have is just some soapy water, and you're gonna use this to lube the tire bead. Have your 3/8 drive with a 13 millimeter for this particular wheel, a tape measure, impact with a 3/8 drive, and anti-coning rings if you need those. So what you're gonna use the tape measure for, before you do anything, you wanna measure how wide the tire bead is. Some tires have extremely thick beads, all right? This Nitto is great. It's right at 3/4 of an inch. Anything over 3/4 of an inch, you're gonna wanna use these ring spacer kits that we offer. So what this does, it fills up the gap for thick tire beads between the inner mating surface and the beadlock ring, all right? Inside of our truck, so I'm gonna lubricate the inside of this bead. All right. We're just gonna pick it up. We're just gonna drop it over our wheel, okay? So when you're mounting this tire, a lot of tires will have a yellow dot here. This is where you're supposed to line up your tire with your valve stem. So next, we're gonna get a bucket. We're gonna get this tire and wheel up off the ground and support the tire against that inner flange. But we're just gonna go along here and lubricate this tire. Okay, so once we lubricated the tire, we're gonna place our beadlock ring in here, lining up our bolt holes, and we're just gonna take 4 bolts and we're gonna start threading them in a star pattern. Just being careful not to cross thread anything as you're going along here. And we're gonna proceed to put all our bolts in by hand. Now again, I'm not tightening very hard. There's barely any resistance on these bolts right now. I just want to ensure it's sucking it down evenly across the tire. Okay, so we do it like this in a star pattern to ensure that the tire is centered evenly in the beadlock ring. If you're gonna use an impact, just do not over torque these bolts and trash the threads on them. Just go very lightly, it doesn't take much. So until you hear some resistance, you can back off. As you start working your way around, the bead protector is pushed up and everything starts seating itself very nicely here. Now remember, it's not a race here, so we're just taking our time doing this right so you get a lot of life out of your wheels. So now we're getting real close over here. We're just gonna keep going around until that gap's eliminated, and then we'll go on to our torquing. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So next, we're gonna go along with our torque wrench, and we're gonna torque everything in a star pattern at 10 foot-pounds. Now, this is the part that's pretty repetitive, but it's necessary. Okay, so once you're done with that, going all the way around, you're gonna move your torque wrench up to 18 foot-pounds. You need to go around the wheel several times, generally 3 or 4 times, to make sure you're properly torqued all the way around your ring. So a lot of people ask me maintenance on these things. They should be maintenance after maybe 100 miles or your first wheeling trip. You're definitely gonna wanna go around and retorque all your hardware along with your lug nuts. I mean, general maintenance of a vehicle, you wanna include this in your maintenance schedule. All right, so now what we're gonna do, we need to set the inner bead with air. So you're gonna take a valve stem core removal tool, unscrew your valve stem core, and put some air in. You did put your valve stem in, right? So next, when we're airing up the tire, we're gonna wanna seat this inner bead, and then you can let some air out for your desired air pressure. So you're done with your wheel, do the other ones, and you're ready to rip. Let's get this mounted on the vehicle and go have fun.